be back. Check out our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
From our compound, from the West Coast to the East Coast to worldwide, both on the internet and terrestrial radio, you're listening to Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark.
And it is dark, and you know what? We rue the early night here on Night Dreams Talk Radio. Our guest tonight is, Les Odell. And, you've been into this really heavy, how long now, on the cryptids, UFOs, and all that scene?
As far as, like, the whole paranormal, somewhere around 15 years. The cryptid stuff is just past, 4 to 5 years. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, you know what I seen, and also James is out there. He's my co-host. He's quiet as a church mouse tonight.
I'm right here, buddy.
Yeah, I know you are. But you know what? It seems like cryptids, has really been, on the upswing of reports all across the country. We got Thunderbird. Actually, even West Virginia, there was a report recently of Thunderbird. How about you? Have you heard anything? What's going on about Thunderbird or any creature like that?
I have one. Like I said, getting somebody to talk to him, to talk around here is not so easy. But I had one recently. The guy claimed to have seen, as he was when he was in high school, he was getting off his school bus, and he started up a hill toward his house, and he said there was a large bird with at least 15 to 20 foot wingspan standing near this rock ledge near his home, and he described it as all black, but had a almost like a sheen to it. He said, in a way, it had a red iridescence to the feathers as well as the black. Had a large eye, large black beak. He said it did have feathers because I asked him if it had, was a bird or the pterosaur type that you hear about. And he said, absolutely no, it had feathers.
Interesting. Hey, James, where was that report? Was that Pennsylvania, or where was it back here about a month ago?
That was pretty much along the border of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And it's not that far from West Virginia, but that was a winged, looked like a pterodactyl kind of creature, actually.
Yeah. That was a good sighting. That was the one, are we talking about the one where the guy had his cam on his windshield of his car and caught it flying across?
Yes, it was on the dash cam. Yeah, that's the same one, and it was kind of raining, and it was on a highway. But that was kind of a pterodactyl. The guy was going home. It was about sun was going down, and that's what it was. That's what it looked like, at least on the picture.
Yeah, interesting. It sounds like you have your mic game down a little bit, James. Have you bumped it or anything, or done anything?
Not that I know of. Let me take a look here.
Yeah, 'cause you're not booming in now.
How about now?
Yeah.
Does that sound better now?
Yeah, it sounds better. Now, getting back to you, Les, I mean, what other reports are you getting in West Virginia of cryptids? Are you getting any other type of reports, like Bigfoot or anything?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of Bigfoot comes in. That has definitely opened up. I'm not sure why, but it a lot of people have contacted me about different, 6 to 8 foot hairy hominids here in Mountain State.
Well, I saw back, many moons ago, a Bigfoot. Me and a friend of mine who's a medical doctor, we went up to Canada, and we went down to Canada, wherever you call it, up to Canada, to the Canadian Rockies, and we were out taking pictures of old ghost towns and stuff like that, old cemeteries, whatever we could find. And we went to this one place that was a Japanese internment camp, where they held prisoners during World War II. And it was like middle of nowhere up in the Canadian Rockies. And that's a good place to put it, because if the prisoner got out, he's not going to go anywhere, because, there's miles and miles of nothing. And, we had to go on a back road, which really wasn't even much of a road to get to the place. Then we had to hike in about 2 miles, and we ran into a Bigfoot. And I'll tell you one thing, after you see one, it changes your whole life thoughts about cryptids. But I can honestly tell you from what I've seen, I don't know if you had any reports like this, but I remember seeing it as running on 2 legs to 4 legs to 2 legs to 4 legs. How about, what type of reports have you been getting from people?
It runs a gambit. I have, majority of them are 2-leg. I do remember one. It was from Nicholas County. This fella called me. Him and his wife were heading to town, and as they rounded the turn, because I went out and I've done all the research or all the measurements and stuff, and they were a good distance from where this creature was. It was approximately 300 to 400 feet, and he remembers seeing something starting to cross the road, and there was a wide spot. And at first he thought it was a bear, because it was on all fours. As he got closer, it went to the middle of the road and stood up on 2 legs. That's when he stopped. He stopped dead in the road. He said, I looked right at it. He said it turned, squared its shoulders to the front of the car. He said I could clearly see there wasn't a bear. I could see its face. It had more of a, human-shaped type face, gorilla mix. He said it was no bear. There's no snout. But there's one thing he did keep telling me. He's like, they both kept telling me, we don't remember seeing its feet. We don't remember seeing its feet. So that kind of made me think a little bit. And I asked him in perspective, where we were at, and where was this creature at on the road, and where were they at? And I pulled my car to where they were at, and I put my son, which is a fellow investigator with me, where he said this creature was. And I remember pulling him to my car and saying, "Would you look you see what I can see here?" When you were sitting in my car, you couldn't see below my son's knees. So that put this thing within 10 to 15 feet of his car. So that's one reason I felt this was really, a truthful story, because, that is things like that. And then I separated him and his wife, and I had him, I carry these little 4x4 artist renderings of the faces of different Bigfoots that sighting people had. The artists put them together, and I carry approximately 20 of them. So as I separated him and his wife, I had him choose the face, because he remembers seeing the face, and I had her draw what she saw, the figure, and the face on that picture and the face that she drew were pretty good match. And she also drew where she said no legs or no feet. But what he told me after that happened, when it stood up and it walked across the rest of the road, walked up the bank a little bit, and then went down on all fours again and actually climbed up a pretty steep embankment up a rock, like a rock ledge, and then disappeared.
That is interesting. Again, when you see something like that, when I saw the Bigfoot up in the Canadian Rockies, people have asked me, since I talked about it now 5 or 6 or 7 or a dozen times on the show in the last year, people say, well, you had a camera, why didn't you take a picture? When you see something like that, it's like if you see a UFO and you got a camera, you don't think about taking a picture. The first thing your mind goes into, pardon the expression, a brain fart, where you kind of go in a daze for a second while you're trying to realize, what did you just see? And then at that point, the fear is there. In that case, in my case, the Bigfoot chased me and my friend back to the car for a 2-mile run. And I served, in the military. I saw combat. And I was never anywhere as scared in my combat time than I was when I ran into that Bigfoot. I tell you, it scared me. And I still have nightmares, and that was the early 2000s. So, I mean, when you see something like that, and in my case, when 1 or 2 times I turned around to look at it to see if it was chasing us, that is even after I urinated myself. That's how scared I was, Les. Mm-hmm. I saw it running, and it was running seriously between 2 legs and 4 legs. It would get down and up. And when it wanted, I think, more speed, it was on 4s. Mm-hmm. It's this weird a situation. And a lot of people go, that's not possible. But then I ran across some other people, very credible people that, saw Bigfoot, that told me the same thing without me even telling them what I saw. They said the same thing, that they saw the Bigfoot run between 2 and 4 legs. It's scary when you run across one.
Well, this gentleman told me the exact same thing you just said. I asked him about, how come you didn't take a picture? He said, to be honest with you, I had a cell phone in the car. He said, it never dawned on me one bit. He said, I'm sitting there almost frozen, 1, kind of in fear in a way, and 2, in just pure amazement and awe. He said, because I had no idea. He said, I'm 63 years old. I've hunted the woods all my life. He said, I was never a believer. He said, I always thought Bigfoot was just, that's just some hokey thing that someone made up, and it's always been a hoax. And then, he said, but I can tell you right now, I know what I saw, and nobody can change my mind. He said, it wasn't a bear. He said, I can absolutely tell you it wasn't a bear. He said, I've seen bear. This wasn't a bear. And he just said, I just never even thought about picking the camera up. It just never dawned on him.
Oh, no, you don't. When you're in that situation, number one, I was scared, okay? Because my friend said, hey, Gary, look over. We were at this, old compound where the prisoner camp was. It was built on the side of a mountain, and there was a silver mines all that whole area where the Japanese and the Chinese would come, and that's what they did. They mined the silver mines. But there was some old equipment there, and my friend first goes, "Look at that huge bear. Get a picture of it," because he had a wide angle lens. I had a big size telephoto on it.